for the Tokyo Olympics. Team USA looks to bounce back from a second straight exhibition loss to Australia last night. Dating back to the 2019 World Cup, the United States has dropped 4 of its last 5. One of the issues for the current squad, chemistry and execution. Dame Lillard noting the U.S. players haven't spent a lot of time together, are still working at becoming a team. The Americans get right back at it tonight with an exhibition matchup against Argentina. Shohei Ohtani gets the start for the American League. Max Scherzer for the National League in tonight's Major League Baseball All-Star Game, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio, as well as the ESPN app.
Country versus country, you versus the home printer. No matter the competition, you need natural fuel. Almonds are exactly that fuel for the best you. Almonds are natural, energy-packed, stay-on-task, feel-good fuel to power you through. California Almonds. Own your everyday, every day.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not going to get to enjoy much in the way of any sunshine this afternoon. Cloud cover definitely going to be a more prominent feature. We're also talking about scattered showers and thunderstorms as a cold front attempts to push its way through the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures are going to stay on the lower end of the spectrum, highs hanging out in the upper 70s and lower 80s, dropping into the upper 60s and lower 70s through the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
256-576-4977.
Hold it, hold it!
That's 256-576-4977.
You want coffee? Anybody want coffee?
Tom, can you get me off the hook? Roll type say.
The tire's tired.
He ain't good looking, but he sure ain't shy. He's a northern bred, southern fed, slick talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today.
Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. 'Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Yes, we are on, Coach. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Top 10 Tuesday in the Doghouse. I am your host, Thom Abraham. Glad that you have joined us for this all-star style Tuesday Top 10. That's right. Look, we have an all-star lineup for you today, and we're going to, which I think is really, really strong. And we have an all-star game Top 10 with 13 things on it. Remember, the Tuesday Top 10 doesn't have to have 10 things. Doesn't even have to be on Tuesday. It just sounds cool to do it that way. So we have that for you coming up a little bit later on. These are the top 13 moments in all-star game history, according to MLB.com. We'll try and get to that in a little bit. Japanese-born Shohei Ohtani and Dominican Juan Soto, they may struggle with the English language, although Stephen A. Smith seems to only have issues with the Asian player. More on that in a moment. Put on quite a show in the home run derby last night, but in the end, it was the two American kids, born 70 miles apart in Florida, that battled it out for the win. The polar bear, Pete Alonso, getting the win over Joseph Anthony Mancini III, hence Trey Mancini. No, they're not both Italian. Alonso's great-grandfather is from Spain. So Alonso was Spanish, but, I mean, he's an American kid. He was born in Lakeland, Florida. Anyway, no, he was born in Tampa, Florida. Alonso's from Tampa, Florida. And Mancini, who is Italian, is born in Lakeland, Florida. It's about 70 or 80 miles apart from each other. Mancini, 29 years old. Alonso, 26 years old. It came down to them for the final. And the polar bear got the win. Alonso joins only Ken Griffey Jr. and Giannis Cespedes as back-to-back winners. Now, Griffey had won it in 94 as well before he won it in 98 and 99. He's the only three-time winner. So we'll see if Alonso tries to match that next year. I mean, Pete Alonso is only 26 years old, man. At 53 home runs to set a rookie record. Broke the record that had been just set by Aaron Judge. And got to love that kid. Got to love him. On today's show, Mr. College Football himself, Tony Barnhardt, will join us from the SEC Network, cover a number of items in college football. And then, at the top of the 11, Beau Estes is in from NBATV and NBA.com. We got a huge Game 4 tomorrow night in the NBA Finals. But before that, my goodness, now the U.S. men's team loses to Australia? And Dame Lillard says it's just we don't have any chemistry yet. We haven't played together long enough. Australia. Really? They've played together long enough? But you guys haven't. I mean, we're taking the best players in the world. Just throw them out there. You should be able to go out there and win a game. Australia. Stop it. Kevin Durant had 17 points. Damian Lillard had 22 points in the game. I don't know. Is Kevin Love playing in this thing at all? Maybe they need to play Kevin Love more. I don't know. Maybe we need to ask Jalen Rose what the answer is to fix this team. I don't know what it is. But right now, they're an embarrassment. And we'll get into that. Phone lines are open. Feel free to jump in at 256-576-4977. We also have the entire digital doghouse for you as well. Our Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. On the Facebook, it's Thom Abraham Show. Text window 732-9TA-SHOW. 732-982-7469. Great way to communicate with the show. We read those on the air. The Zone is on the Twitter, the Facebook, the Twitch at 97.7 ESPN. Online at 977ESPN.com. The app. Get the app. Plus the video stream of all of the shows at all of those places, as well as our YouTube channel at 97.7 ESPN The Zone. All right, let's talk about the Stephen A. Smith thing for a moment. So Stephen A. Smith yesterday on his show First Take on the ESPN said the following about Shohei Ohtani. Quote, "This brother is special. Make no mistake about it. But the fact that you got a foreign player that doesn't speak English, that needs an interpreter, believe it or not, contributes to harming the game to some degree when that's your box office appeal. It needs to be someone like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, those guys. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, that's not the case. When you talk about an audience gravitating to the tube or the ballpark to actually watch, okay, I don't think it helps that the number one face is a dude that needs an interpreter so you can understand what the hell he is saying, close quote. So I joked that while it didn't hurt Ricky Henderson, I mean, you know, a couple of things here. One, I got to tell you, the interpreter, and the kid does speak English. He accepted the Rookie of the Year award 2 years ago and spoke English at the banquet. He speaks English. And I'm sure his English is getting better and better. And I'm sure it's going to be really good. I always laugh at the guys that have been like Tony Perez. Remember Tony Perez, the first baseman? He's Eduardo Perez's dad. Eduardo Perez, who was, look, I need an interpreter, who was on ESPN's baseball coverage, was on the coverage last night of Home Run Derby. His dad, Tony Perez, he was in this country for like 30 years and still spoke with like thick, broken English. I was always funny. I was like, I mean, really? Tony Perez has been here for longer than he was not here. Still couldn't speak good English, but whatever. I'll say this about what Stephen A. said, and he issued today 2 apologies. I'm gonna tell you what he said in the apologies. You know, there's a grain of truth in what he's saying. I mean, let's just say it, okay? It's not about being able to speak English without an interpreter. It's about Shohei not being an American. I mean, it's he's not totally off base. It's something that many people think. It's just something you don't hear to come out of Stephen A's mouth because he's the defender of all minorities. It's okay that Ohtani is great theater. It's okay that the Latin players are so entertaining. It's also okay to kind of wish that those were Americans. It's okay. We are Americans. This is America. The United States of America. So it's okay to say, yeah, it'd be nice if an American kid in America playing a game that was invented in America that used to be our national pastime, it would just be nice if it was an American kid. He's getting crucified. And I'm no Stephen A. apologist. But really, how many people are thinking that? How many people are thinking when they saw what Shohei Ohtani was doing, like, damn, I wish he was an American kid? I know we got to be all politically correct and we got to say it's one word. I get all of that. But come on, deep down in your heart of hearts, are you telling me that you don't wish that it was an American kid? And that when Mike Trout is playing great or whoever it is playing great, that if it's an American kid, you feel a certain amount of pride. When they play the World Baseball Congress thing, or when they play the Olympics and baseball's in the Olympics, who do you pull for? You pull for the U.S., right? You want the U.S. to win. You want the U.S. to beat the Korean team and the Asian team. Am I lying? So, Stephen A. issued the following apology on the Twitter last night after he had made those comments. He said, as I'm watching things unfold, let me say that I never intended to offend any community, particularly the Asian community, and especially Shohei Ohtani himself. As an African-American, keenly aware of the damage stereotyping has done to many in this country, it should have elevated my sensitivities even more. Based on my words, I failed in that regard, and it's on me and me alone. Ohtani is one of the brightest stars in all of sports. He is making a difference as it pertains to inclusiveness and leadership. I should have embraced that in my comments. Instead, I screwed up. In this day and age, with all the violence being perpetrated against the Asian community, my comments, albeit unintentional, were clearly insensitive and regrettable. There's simply no other way to put it. I'm sincerely sorry for any angst that caused what my comments on First Take this morning. Again, I'm sorry. And I'll happily reiterate these words more extensively tomorrow morning, which is this morning as well. Okay. Left out of that statement is the part that, look, this wasn't an anti-Asian thing. It's a pro-American thing. I mean, you could say, look, the guy's a phenomenal star. And it's, you know what I get from watching Ohtani too? He loves being in America. And I love when I see that. I saw a video last night about a Cuban guy who had just come over from Cuba, and somebody videotaped him walking through a Walmart. And he could not believe the choices and the food and the toys and all the stuff that was in Walmart, because he was Cuban and he was from Cuba, where they have socialism. And he could not believe what it looked like in an American store like Walmart. That's how Ohtani is. Now, not that Japan is Cuba. It certainly is not. But Ohtani loves being here. And I love when people come over from foreign countries and they show their love for our country. Our country. So, to me, from Stephen A's point, to say that, look, this isn't a, anti-Asian thing. This is a pro-American thing. Man, I just wish an American kid was doing that. That's all I'm saying. So today on his show, he said, let me be the first to stand up and say that I want to express my sincere apologies to the Asian community and the Asian American community. I am a black man. I religiously go off about minorities being marginalized in this nation. I instantly go off repeatedly bringing up the fact that if you are a member of a community that feels disenfranchised in any way, that's something we need to battle. We need to fend off to the best of our ability as a nation. These are the kind of things that I bring up, and the reason that I bring up my blackness is because of this. On many occasions, what I have said when people have said something that is offensive in any way to the minority community, it's not about how you feel, it's about how they feel. And the reality of the situation is that you have Asians and Asian Americans out there that obviously were very, very offended by what I had to say yesterday, and I want to extend my apologies. That wasn't my intent. It was wrong, period. This is not ESPN. This is not Disney. This was me. I said it. The reality is that I was completely clueless as to the kind of impact that I would have on the Asian and Asian American community. Again, never addressing the heart of the matter. This is not about language. This is not about Asians. This is, you could say the same thing about Latin players. This is not about Dominican players or Mexican players or players from other Latin American countries. This is about one thing and one thing alone. Wishing that the biggest, brightest, newest superstar in the sport that is predominantly an American sport wasn't American. That's all this is. That's all this is. That's all this is. And in many ways, the same thing manifests itself in basketball and in the NBA. The NBA is dominated by the African-American player. And now the African-Greek player, I guess, and others. Now, look, our American team, the team wearing the USA on their jerseys, is every player except for one is black. They're African-Americans. So we pull for them because they're Americans. This isn't a black-white thing. They're Americans. But in your heart of hearts, how many of you have said the same thing that I have said when watching and you see white players in the NBA that excel? And they're always Europeans. And you wonder, well, why? If the African-American player can be so good, why can't the African-white player be any good? Why are so few anymore American white players any good? And you watch Dirk Nowitzki, for example, or Luka Doncic, for example, and you watch these players and you say, well, it's obvious doesn't have to be, white people in America are of European descent for the most part. So why is it's not a black-white thing? Where are the American kids of white descent? It's the same thing. And you say that. Even Steve Nash. Steve Nash was Canadian. You say, damn, I wish Dirk Nowitzki was an American kid. I wish Luka Doncic was an American kid. Hell, I wish the Greek Freak was an American kid. So it's okay to say something positive about America still. Believe it or not, it's okay to say something positive about America. So that's where I stand on it. All right, over there in that little glass booth, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and manning the phones, a great American, Coach Chris.
Do you know who I am?
Who in the blue hell are you?
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and pollen.
I'm telling you, there's an embarrassing press conference in that kid's future. You don't ever say that to me. Bullcrap.
There won't be any misinformation. There won't be any false statements. There won't be any hearsay.
How come there ain't no Puerto Ricans on Star Trek?
You ask me those kind of questions, it really pisses me off.
Thom, can you get me off the hook? For old time's sake.
You ask a question every week that I don't know anything about.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
You do what everybody else in the media does, just create some and throw it on the wall and see what sticks.
I ain't gonna be buried. I want a taxidermist to stuff me.
Say hello to my little friend.
Hey, yo. Yes. He is a great American. And he is Coach Chris. You understand what I'm saying, Chris? This isn't about the Asian and the language barrier and everything else. Really, all I think Stephen A. was trying to say is you'd like for it to be an American kid that is doing this fantastic thing. It's not negative to him, to Otani, because he's a wonderful young man, it seems like. By all intents and purposes, it seems like he's a wonderful young man. It's just that, damn, don't you wish he was an American? I think that's all he's saying.
I mean, I kind of can understand what he's saying. I mean, yeah, I guess I wish it was an American, but I mean, Freddie Freeman was the MVP last year, right? And I mean, Freddie Freeman was kind of like that generational player that people were kind of thinking that he was going to be the next big thing, and he kind of really didn't. And I guess I can see what you're talking about with white players, not being the face of baseball. But I mean, if you look at the majority of who's playing baseball, they're from all over the globe. I mean, and I just don't see a problem with whether he doesn't speak any English or not. Or if he does speak a little bit of English, because Ronald Acuna doesn't speak that much English, and he's learning English as he's here in America.
I mean, but it's easy to say. You know what, Ronald Acuna? That's a good example. All right, as great as Ronald Acuna is, you wish he was an American kid. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think that's a problem to say that. Damn, he's so good. I wish he was an American kid. It's fine that Ronald, and I don't even know Ronald Acuna speaks English, doesn't he? I don't remember.
No, he has an interpreter, but he
speaks
usually
broken English, right?
But he'll get Albies to do it every now and then for him, or he actually has an interpreter.
But he's trying, and he'll learn. He'll learn the language. Look, it's just been this way forever. We've had great Latin players forever. We've had great players. Now you go back to Ichiro coming over years and years ago, and I don't know how much Ichiro ever really spoke English. But it's okay to say, without disparaging the Asians or the Latin player or whatever, it's okay to say, man, he was an American. I wish the first guy since Babe Ruth to be able to pitch and hit like that was an American. That's all. And Freddie Freeman is not a generational player. He's a guy that won a truncated MVP. He's just a really good baseball player. He's really good. He's not the face of baseball. He's not a generational player. He's just a nice player that had a good 60-game run that won the MVP of a 60-game thing.
Never going to give him his credit, are you?
No, he's not going to get credit in this instance. He's not going to get credit like a full 162-game MVP. He won't. He was the best player in that truncated thing. Just like I won't give Luke Voigt credit. I mean, Luke Voigt was the home run leader. Okay. But he, no biggie. Let me get Shane in here quick because I got to get to Mr. College Football too. Shane, welcome in. How are you?
What is going on, big dog? Long time no talk.
Hey, man.
So, I just wanted to touch on the subject that you're talking about right now. I think, and I have a question as well with this statement. I think they should be, these foreign players, when they come to play in the United States, it should be a part of, I don't know, maybe a part of their contract where within a certain amount of time they have to learn, how to speak English to the point to where they can do an interview. And is this something that is actually a thing, or is it just something I come up with?
No, I think they're encouraged to as much as possible, and many of them want to and try to. And I've often said that. Look, Gary Sanchez is another one. He's been over here for 4 or 5 years now. It's like, are you making any effort to learn the language? You're going to be paid millions. You're playing in the United States. How about giving it a shot and learn the language? I'm a big learn the language guy. But the thing is Ohtani is learning the language, and he speaks good enough English he actually accepted an award 2 years ago in English and gave a speech in English.
Exactly. And that happens a lot of times. There's a lot of foreign players that can speak English. For instance, like Ronald Acuna Jr., but he's just so shy because he thinks his English is so bad, he won't do it. But I would rather see him try than use an interpreter all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I understand that. It's the same thing. Look, Sammy Sosa, we know Sammy Sosa speaks English, but remember when he went before Congress in the doping thing, he used an interpreter. I understand that if you are not look, I can barely speak English. I don't even know what I can't speak no second language, so I can't imagine what it would be like to be in another country try to answer questions correctly in their language. So I got no problem with that. And having an interpreter when you go to the mound, you want to make sure that you're getting the signal straight, right? So it's okay that an interpreter comes out there. Probably 80% of the time he understands what the communication is, but let's get this exactly right if you're on the mound and you're talking about how you're going to handle a certain hitter or something like that. I'm fine with all of that. And I'm fine with, like I said, if Stephen A. would just make it about, it doesn't have to be Bryce Harper or Mike Trout, but to say that, it's fantastic, I just wish as an American it was an American kid, but I love the guy. It would have been the end of it.
Right.
We all wish it was. Doesn't everybody? Oh, I wish the best player in baseball was an Asian. No, you don't.
Yeah, and you know what? And since you mentioned Stephen A. Smith, that's another point I want to make. He makes, if it comes even remotely close to something that has to do with racism, but that's nowhere in there's no clue about anything being racist, he will always make it a racism situation.
He'll bring race into it, yeah.
I love Stephen A. Smith, but I cannot stand that about him. He just needs to sometimes shut up and leave it be.
Yeah. Well, he did say Mike Trout and Bryce Harper, and that was, to me, and thanks for the call, Shane. I appreciate it. We got a jet. Yes. To me, I think that was calculated on his part. Not to make it look like it was a racial thing in terms of black and white. I think that was calculated on his part. I mean, Bryce Harper is not it. He's a nice player. He's not right now. He's not a top 10 player in Major League Baseball. He didn't say Aaron Judge, who's, half African American. He didn't say Giancarlo Stanton. He didn't say, pick a player. The reality is there's not a lot of African Americans playing baseball right now. 6%, 7%. That's it. It's the way it is. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back. Tony Barnhardt is next, Mr. College Football, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
Tomorrow night, Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Suns lead the Bucks 2-1. Game 4 in Milwaukee with the Bucks a 4-point favorite. The over-under 220.5. Golf, the 2021 Open Championship set for this Thursday through Sunday at Royal St. George's. John Rahm coming into the final major of the year. The odds-on favorite at plus 750 with Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson each at plus 1,600. Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, and Jordan Spieth each at plus 1,800. Tonight, the 2021 All-Star Game in Denver. The National League team coming in a slight favorite, minus 120 on the money line. The American League minus 110, the over-under 8.5.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Drinking coffee straight from the pot. Power move. Wearing a bathrobe to work. Power move. Switching to super fast, extra reliable internet from WOW. Power move. Switch and save with WOW Internet for just $19.99 a month. It's switching season, so make a move with our best deal of the year. Get the speed you need starting with Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get $200 on us. Sign up at wowway.com today.
Wow.
Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
We love our pets, and when we need boarding or vet services, we want the best. That's why we chose Paradise Pet Resort and Spa. Everything our pets needed, all in one place. Boarding for both dogs and cats. Doggy daycare, grooming and spa services, web cameras, and top-notch vet care, too. It's a true Paradise Pet Resort for your furry friends, serving all of North Alabama. Find out everything you need to know and book services online at ParadisePetResortandSpa.com. Located in Madison, just off 565 at Wall Triana, behind Cracker Barrel.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family-owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com. Our zone deal this week is truly an award winner. Metro Diner, serving up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest priced mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. Right now, you can get $50 worth of great Metro Diner food for half price, just $25 with our zone deal. Just log on 977ESPN.com to get yours.
256-576-4977.
Hold it!
That's 256-576-4977.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not going to get to enjoy much in the way of any sunshine this afternoon. Cloud cover definitely going to be a more prominent feature. We're also talking about scattered showers and thunderstorms as a cold front attempts to push its way through the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures are going to stay on the lower end of the spectrum, highs hanging out in the upper 70s and lower 80s, dropping into the upper 60s and lower 70s through the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide Sports, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Just to finish that thought, too. I've been a firm believer of this forever. You know what the most American sport is of all sports? It's football. Football. Everyone that plays football virtually, college football, NFL football, are Americans. And I honestly believe that is part of the reason why football has become, by leaps and bounds, America's sport. Why it's the number one sport in America. I really believe that to a certain extent, that it is dominated by American players across the board. Pretty much, this is we're the only people in the world that really play this game. And this is, I think, why Americans love football so much, is that every kid that's out there, regardless of race, is an American kid. And so I think that's part of it. Just wrapping up that thought on and the Latins and the Asians in baseball, and you know, it doesn't have to take away from what they bring to the table, but you know, to say, oh, I wish he was an American. I understand that. Joining us now, a great American, Mr. College Football. He's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. He's Tony Barnhardt. Tony, welcome to the show. How are you? Uh-oh. All right. Well, we got to reconnect with Tony. Either that or he didn't like my comment. That might have happened. You know, you never know. Maybe he didn't like that comment. But I understand that part of it. I believe that part of it. You know, and this wasn't about the color line in baseball or anything like that. I mean, Jackie Robinson was an American. It wasn't about Americans. But I understand the concept and the thought that America loves football, and part of the reason is it's the most American game. All right, now Tony Barnhardt is back on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Tony, welcome to the show. How are you?
Tom, I'm doing well. How about you?
I am fantastic. You kind of walked into the end of the segment that we did on Stephen A's comments on baseball, and I don't think that he was ever intending to say anything negative about, you know, Shohei Ohtani, but I think what he was trying to say was, man, don't you wish it was an American? And I believe that I think this is one of the reasons why football is the most popular sport in all of America, is because whether it's the college level or the NFL level, Americans dominate the game. This is America. This really is America's game. They don't do this anywhere else in the world. I mean, am I lying? I mean, this is the most American of all games.
It is the most American of all games, and it's. I've been doing it a long time. Glad to do it. Looking forward to next week's SEC Media Days.
Yeah, and one of the big topics, of course, is going to be NIL. We are now 3 weeks into this thing, a couple of weeks into it anyway. There were some interesting ones that went down right at the very beginning. What were your thoughts on it and the unintended consequences? Are we seeing a little bit of that yet? You know, how is this as somebody who's monitored college football for a long, long time? Give me your initial thoughts 2 weeks into NIL.
Well, I was told at the very beginning of this process, this is going to take at least a year or two, if maybe more, to sort itself out. Because obviously everybody wants to jump in at the beginning. You get the most media exposure that way. The question is the people who are doing deals now, will they be doing deals 3 years from now? And so it was something that was going to happen. It had to happen. The players needed the freedom to generate income off their name, image, and likeness. But we are a long way from sorting this out because there's a lot of moving parts to this thing. And but you know what? Once the games start, we get into practice. We're probably not going to talk about this very much
until a kid comes to the sideline and holds up a product or something like that, and he's doing an endorsement. You know what I mean, for the sideline when he comes off the field. There are some crazy things. What are your thoughts about what happened at Miami, and in some levels what happened in Nebraska, but more so in Miami, where basically a booster? I mean, a flat-out, no questions asked booster, for all intents and purposes, put the entire football team on his payroll. I mean, you just said, okay, right, we're going to give everybody $500 a month, and that costs about $540,000 a season. He could easily raise $2 or $3 million from boosters, and that could become a $2,000 or $3,000 a month payment per player from a fund of boosters. I mean, was that what this was intended to do, to put the team on a payroll?
No, I don't think it was. But the way the rules are structured, the rules are pretty loosey goosey. Okay, because the NCAA doesn't want to go to court on this thing, so they said, you know, if you've got a state law, go by the state law. If not, here's what we have. But the thing at Miami is, it to me is intriguing because I don't think he'll be able to do it the way he's got it structured now. You can't just say, I'm going to give everybody $500 a month just for being on the football team. That is specifically prohibited. But if the same guy says, I will give everybody on the football team $500 a month if they go on their Instagram accounts and mention me 3 times a month, then that is totally within the scope of the rules. You can't give somebody money just because they're a member of the football team. You can give somebody money if they do in exchange for something, work or endorsements or things of that nature. So I think the Miami guy will be able to do it. He'll just have to tweak what he's doing. He can't just give it to them just because they're a member of the Miami football team. They got to do something.
Tony Barnhardt with us here. And Tony, when I was in Nashville, I would often have Titan players that come on. They might come on for a segment or they might come on for an hour, and you'd pay them. So we had to pay Albert Haynes, where I think it was $500 an appearance, and you get a sponsor for him and so on. So one of the first thoughts we had was that, wait a minute, let's get one of the Alabama players to come on the show once a week, and we'll pay them. You know what I mean? We'll pay them, and we'll get a sponsor. You know, so-and-so is presented by. And then immediately, one of the guys in our office, in fact, the only guy that outranks me in our office, said, Saban isn't going to allow the guys to do that. He won't allow them to do that. No. Look, then I started thinking about, can Saban tell the players? He's a guy that doesn't let his assistant coaches speak. Can Saban tell the players, you can't do an appearance on a radio station?
Sure he can. Sure. Okay. Now, do the players have to listen to him? That's the question. The question is, the head coach can tell you whatever he wants to tell you, and the player has to decide what he's going to do with that information. So, a player, under these set of rules, a player should be able to receive an appearance fee just like a pro player can receive an appearance fee.
Right.
There's some. I thought this was fascinating. I can't remember the name of the website, but they will book you your favorite college player to come, be at your party for an hour. and I saw some players were getting like $2,000 an hour. Matt Corral, the quarterback at Ole Miss, he just jumped out there at $10,000 an hour
for a 1 hour appearance.
With that, that's exactly right. Good luck, young man. Go for it. So.
Well, don't you think that's where regulation is going to have to come in? Because I thought there were quote-unquote guide rails, you know what I mean? And I know that's, guide rails. There's no guide rails that says how much money Tony Barnhardt's going to make or Thom Abraham's going to make. But these players, there were supposed to be some kind of guide rails. But don't you think they're going to have some sort of regulation where it's like, okay, this is the fee for this and this is the fee for that and so on and so forth? Or do you think this is the Wild West?
I don't think so, Tom. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to get that deep. I think the guardrails that you're going to see says Thom Abram can't do a liquor ad, okay? Yeah. Thom Abram cannot do a gambling ad. Those are the kind of guardrails that are going to be in place, because if you start restricting how much money they can make, then you're back to the same antitrust situation. Remember, the Supreme Court slam dunked the NCAA 9-0 and basically told them your financial model is violating antitrust law. So the last thing the NCAA wants to do is say, well, you can make 500, but you can't make 2,000. You cannot go down that road.
Well, what if the car dealership? I mean, you said Matt Corral 10,000. What if the car dealership says, boy, I'd like to have, so and so, the freshest recruit or whatever, have him come down here for 50,000. Wink, wink. At what point in time? We saw a kid at a mid-major at TSU, Tennessee State. Yes, he's Master P's son. Got $2 million. I mean, come on. How is that web-based, app company going to recover $2 million by having, Hersey Miller rep them, in Nashville? It's nuts.
Great question. It's a great question, but the ultimate answer to the question is when you tell an athlete no, you better have it on sound footing.
Right.
Because if you're just doing it because, young man, I think you're making way too much money. I said, well, no. The courts say that I can make as much money as I can. So, yeah, these are all the questions that you're raising, are all questions that are going to have to be worked through, and stuff that we've never even thought of will crop up in the next few years.
Yeah, the old unintended consequences. Tony Barnhardt with us. When do you think it'll happen? I mean, I've always said that, look, the third-party money is there. People want to buy the NCAA video games, which are going to be back in a couple of years. NFL properties, Major League Baseball properties, they cut all of the players in. They get whatever it is, 2 or 3% of all of those sales. Jersey sales, everything else goes into a pot, and every player in the league, whether or not they're the highest paid player or the lowest paid player, gets the equal percentage of all of that licensed stuff. Will that happen at some point in time? Will a guy who goes to the store at Alabama and buys a Bryce Harper or a Bryce Young jersey, and then now it's going to have his name on the back and say Young on it, will it come a point in time where those players will get cut in for those type of things?
Well, there's where you're going to have a big argument. The quarterback at Alabama, Bryce Young, says if you sell a Bryce Young jersey with my name on it, you're using my name, and therefore I should get a percentage of it. Okay,
right.
I don't know that they're going to share. I mean, that is a question that ultimately is going to have to be answered. But yeah, because this is very much an individual type deal, and so I don't know if they're going to do much of anything collectively. Well, I tell you, here's a good collective one. A barbecue place in the state of Arkansas has sponsored the entire Arkansas offensive line. So they get to come in there and eat as much as they want. Now that is a good deal right there.
Yeah.
I like that one.
That's brilliant. And then they ended up throwing money at other Arkansas athletes as well. They wanted a piece of that as well, and it was good. And it's got one of the great hashtags of all time. Hashtag built by barbecue. I think it's Body by Barbecue. That's what it is. Body by Barbecue. I mean, that's a great hashtag for an offensive line, especially for the Hogs. Tony Barnhardt with us here talking some college football. All right, so the pros handle it. The quarterback's making $40 million a year, and the left tackle, or the left tackle is not a good example, but the safety on the backup safety, he's making $3 million a year. Do you anticipate, especially early on, any problems in the locker rooms. And this is one thing that Nick Saban is brilliant at, is handling distractions, and that's why they were so good last year, as well as the sheer talent that they have. But could you anticipate there being issues within these locker rooms with these teams where, certain guys are getting more than other guys?
I think the analogy you drew to the NFL is appropriate here. I talked to a former pro football player, and he said, look, what you do is, former coach as well, he said, look, you tell the guys in the locker room, you guys want, your goal is to be a professional someday. Well, guess what? This is what happens in professional athletics. Mm-hmm. Not everybody makes the same amount of money. So you're going to have to grow up and learn to deal with it. And somebody said, well, what if the offensive tackle doesn't block for the quarterback anymore? Well, you know what? It's on film. And if it's on film, it's on tape, the scouts are going to watch it. So I think that, quite honestly, will the feelings be there? Yeah. Will anything happen because of it? I think that's overblown.
All right, to the field we go just for a couple of moments. Is Alabama overrated right now with all of the changes offensively, all of the new bodies? We just kind of assume that they're plug-and-play players and the next one's going to be as good as the last one. But right now, are people, is it too easy when we, the media, go to SEC Media Days and vote Alabama to win the West and win the SEC? Is that too much of a knee-jerk reaction?
No, I don't think so. Until somebody beats Alabama, I think you got to go with them. Now, if they had been recruiting so-so over the last 3-4 years, instead of having the number 1 or number 2 recruiting class, if they'd been 10 or 11 or something like that, if they hadn't recruited well the last 5 or 6 years, then you could say, well, with this great class leaving, there's going to be some slippage. But I mean, I don't follow recruiting, but the smart people who do tell me they've recruited this most recent class is one of the best ones that Saban's ever had. Yeah. So until recruiting slips, which it hasn't, I think it's a pretty safe bet going with Alabama, and they still got a lot of talented players.
Yeah, there are those that think it's the best class anyone has ever had. That this class Alabama put together, you don't know until they start. Now the key for Nick Saban and his staff has always been player development. And I think at the end of the day, when the book is written, and it seems like it might not be written for another 3, 4, 5 years, I thought Saban would be done 70, just like Steve Spurrier. I thought that's the magic number. I thought we were really closing in on the end, but now I'm starting to think, my God, maybe he is going to be there another 3 or 4 years. I don't know. But it seems like at the end of the day, the most amazing thing when they write this story of Nick Saban's dominance of college football during this era, it's got to be the fact that they turned over chief assistant coaches on such a regular basis and continued to win, right? I mean, that's the thing that's mind-boggling, is that every year it seems like there are new coordinators and they still win.
Right. Well, to me, the story of this run that Nick Saban is on is that he made a conscious decision. There came a part. I was sitting in his office one day, and this is before he brought in Lane Kiffin. And I asked him, I said, okay, because he's always 1 or 2 steps ahead of everybody else. And so we were finishing up in his office. I said, okay, what's next? What's next? He said, we got to start scoring more points. The game has changed. We're not scoring enough points. And that's when he made after fighting it tooth and nail, the up-tempo, spread them out kind of game, he finally said, okay, is that the way you want to play it? Okay, I can play it that way. And he went out and made the commitment to recruiting quarterbacks and wide receivers and all that. So he made a conscious decision to change who he was offensively. And to me, that's the most impressive thing of all.
And finally, in the East, last year Florida got over in the cocktail party. But yet this year, I mean, Phil Steele's a friend of the show. He was on last week. And, he comes out with his preseason top 25. And the gap between Georgia and Florida is now all of a sudden humongous. I mean, bigger than it's been in recent years, as Georgia's a top 5 team with a returning quarterback. And he didn't even put Florida in his top 25. I mean, that seems a little bit odd. That's not right, I don't believe. But how big did the gap become in one off season between Georgia and Florida?
Well, Florida, I think, returns a total of 9 starters, and you lose your quarterback, and you lose 3 great receivers, including Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney and all that. And oh, by the way, their defense was just awful by their standards. And so, whereas Georgia's arrows seem to be going up with their quarterback coming back, I think the gap is pretty good. The thing about it, there's a gap between Georgia and Florida. Also, keep in mind Kentucky and Missouri. I think those teams are going to be better than people think they're going to be. But yeah, the gap. And so, listen, Georgia had beaten Florida 3 out of the last 4 years. Florida was a better team last year. I don't see anybody in the SEC East beating Georgia.
You just mentioned 4 teams in the East, and none of them were Tennessee. I mean, how sad is that for our Vols fans? I mean, it's just – and I think Josh Heupel's a reach. I'll be totally honest with you. I think it's a real reach. Could he be great? Yeah. I think it's a reach. We'll see.
Well, Tom, they don't have enough players. I mean, they lost their best 2 running backs. One transferred to North Carolina. The other transferred to Oklahoma. He's got a room full of quarterbacks, and we don't know if any of those quarterbacks can do what Heupel wants to do offensively. They just don't have enough players. My friend said, well, Tennessee's talent hasn't been the answer. Sure, it's been the answer. It's the question. And so they simply, in my mind, don't have enough SEC caliber players to finish anywhere but 5th.
Tony Barnhardt has been our guest. Tony, look forward to seeing you in the halls roaming around, Natalie attired in your sharp suit, next week in Hoover, where I know there'll be less radio stations there. We'll be there. We're broadcasting all day long. But it'll be good to have some semblance of normalcy, back in Hoover next year or next week.
You got that right. I look forward to seeing you, Tom. Take care.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Tony Barnhardt. What a great guy. All right, let's get a break. Come back and wrap up hour number 1. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sitting here with Ann Adams of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate. Is it a good time to sell your home, Ann?
Yes, it is. We have people relocating from all over the country.
Why should we choose Rise Real Estate?
Well, we've been selling real estate in North Alabama for 36 years and have sold more real estate than any other real estate company, period.
Do you help your customers through the entire process?
Yes, our agents are with you during the whole process from start to finish, from beginning to end.
In your relocation services, you have a whole team.
Yes, we have a dedicated relocation department helping customers move seamlessly into the area.
Ann Adams has been writing contracts for the last 36 years. She has the experience to help you list and sell your home, downsize your home, or help pick the perfect spot north of Alabama for you to build a future.
Call Ann Adams at 256-337-2625 or on the web at www.bhhsriserealestate.com.
Nothing beats a great burger to help celebrate the 4th of July, and at Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, we couldn't agree more. And if you haven't tried our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness, then head on down and try one of Bad Daddy's award-winning burgers now. Our delicious burgers are made with premium Angus beef, and you can pair it with one of our signature cocktails or a cold craft beer. Celebrate your 4th of July and enjoy a little freedom from the grill with a trip to Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway between Bob Wallace and Governors.
Get more out of summer with savings on appliances to simplify and streamline during the Home Depot's 4th of July savings in-store and online. Right now, you'll save a bundle on top appliances like this Samsung laundry pair. Celebrate summer with a laundry upgrade during 4th of July savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only, while supplies last. Free delivery on purchases of $396 or more. Valid through July 14th.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. And a quick shout out to my son, Avery Seaton, number 19. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including our all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and the sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in the Kia. Go Mustangs!
Guys, when we were 20, we never had to worry about spontaneity. And now that we've gotten older, spontaneity has been replaced with pills and injections. We're just trying to keep that intimacy but it's taken away from spontaneity. At Advanced Life Clinic, we now offer GainsWave, which uses sound waves to non-invasively treat this issue with no need for pills or injections. Just give us a call, 256-888-9367, or check us out online, advancedlifeclinic.com.
Our zone deal this week is truly an award winner. Metro Diner, serving up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest priced mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. Right now, you can get $50 worth of great Metro Diner food for half price, just $25 with our zone deal. Just log on 977ESPN.com to get yours.
By the way, as of this moment, there are only 5 of those Metro Diner deals left. 5. So you better get to zone deals. WZZN.halfoffdeal.com. WZZN.halfoffdeal.com. You better get there and snap up a Metro Diner if you want Metro Diner. Only 5 left. You can still get hummus and pita, but Metro Diner is going to be gone soon. Been a very, very popular promotion that we have been able to run. So check that out. Coming up at the top of the hour, we are going to be joined by Beau Estes from NBATV, NBA.com. Not only to talk about tomorrow's huge game in the NBA Finals, but, oh my gosh, the U.S. men's team losing to Australia now. I mean, do these mean anything, these exhibitions?
No, but it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. I think it means a little something because we never lost them before. And, we were, 39-0 during Olympic year ones. Not non-Olympic year ones, but Olympic year ones. Not Olympic year ones, we were 39-0 coming in. Now we've lost the last 2. Beau Estes is next. It's the Thom Abraham Show. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Braves baseball is celebrating 150 years, and this 2021 team is looking to kick down the door and make this season one for the history books.
Swing and a fly ball hit left toward their bullpen. Are you kidding me? Another pinch hit homer.
Your new home of the Atlanta Braves.
Hit high in the air to deep right center field. We are tied!
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
The Saddle Up for St. Jude Trail Riding Concert is this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And the 25th year is going to be the biggest ever. This Thursday night at 8:30, Shenandoah. This Friday night at 8:30, T. Graham Brown. And this Friday night at 8, the legendary Clint Black.
Every night is a Saturday night and everything's right.
22 number 1 hits. Over 20 million records sold.
It won't be long before my ship comes in. Here I come.
Saddle Up for St. Jude this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Gardner Farm in Tuscumbia. Get your tickets now at Eventbrite and saddleupforkids.org. That's saddleup4kids.org for tickets and a complete weekend schedule.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Alabama. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi at this hour. As preparations continue for the Tokyo Olympics, Team USA looks to bounce back from a second straight exhibition loss to Australia last night. Dating back to the 2019 World Cup, the United States has dropped 4 of its last 5. One of the issues for the current squad, chemistry and execution. Dame Lillard noting the U.S. players haven't spent a lot of time together, are still working at becoming a team. The Americans get right back at it tonight with an exhibition matchup against Argentina. Shohei Ohtani gets the start for the American League, Max Scherzer for the National League in tonight's Major League Baseball All-Star Game, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio, as well as the ESPN app.
Country versus country, you versus the home printer. No matter the competition, you need natural fuel. Almonds are exactly that fuel for the best you. Almonds are natural, energy-packed, stay-on-task, feel-good fuel to power you through. California Almonds. Own your everyday, every day.
From the Alabama Crimson Tide to the Atlanta Braves, we are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. Woody Anderson Ford for all your service needs. It's Woody Anderson Ford. Keep that rig going like it's new, just like my Expedition, which is over 300,000 miles now, and it just won't die because of Woody Anderson Ford. It's just that good. Woody Anderson Ford, Woody Anderson of Madison as well. They can do your service. You go in there, you see how impeccable and how clean their garages are where they do the service work. That's because they take a great deal of pride in what they do. And when they take that kind of pride, it shows in the job that they do for your vehicle. Make your appointment at Woody Anderson Ford. All right, Beau Estes has been backed up about 20 minutes or so. He'll be joining us at 11:25. So we have open lines this segment of the show. 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977 will get you into the show. The U.S. is now 54-4 in exhibition games since 1992. And they were 54-2 up until 2 days ago. And now they've lost their last, I think, 4 of their last 5 international games going back to the 2019 World Cup. I believe it's now 4 times that they have lost in their last 5 games, something like that. I mean, it's just crazy. I don't care who the team is. I don't care who the players are. Don't blame it on Kevin Love. He didn't play at all. All right? He didn't even get in a game. So don't even blame it on them. All right. But we'll do that conversation a bit later on with Beau Estes. If you want in, this is a good time to get in. 256-576-4977. A couple of things that I want to get to, and then I want to get to the top 10 and get that cleared out of there. We have an All-Star Game top 10 for you tonight. Last night, home run derby. It's the first time I've seen it in any kind of duration, Grizz, in the last several years. I'll be honest with you, because it's always during SEC Media Days. And I just never seem to be able to catch it. There's always something going on that night. There's one of the dinners or something like that goes on around SEC Media Days.
Yeah.
Last night was the first night I really watched it extensively. And by the way, like a lot of other people, American or otherwise, after Ohtani got beat, I turned it off. I mean, turn it off.
It's ruining baseball. It's ruining baseball.
Ruining baseball. The Asian kid, he's ruining baseball.
It's because the Asian kid got out. You turned off the TV.
Turned it off.
Well, I'll say this. Vladimir Guerrero should have hit that. Tatis should have been there. Acuna should have been there again.
Well, he couldn't now with the twig.
Well, yeah.
Do you know when this started?
I'm just saying in general.
Do you know when home run derby started at the All-Star game?
85.
85. Can you imagine what home run derby would have been like in the 60s and 70s?
Oh, man.
Hank Aaron, Willie Mays.
Oh.
I mean, oh my God.
Just think if they could hit the home run derby in the Polo Grounds. Like every corner shot would be a home run because it's 200 feet. The Polo Grounds was 200 feet down the line.
Not even at the pesky pole isn't that far down the line, and they did have it at Fenway Park a few years ago. I remember when it was that was the game that Pedro Martinez just was out of his mind. Struck out the first four guys in the game.
You talking about 99?
MVP. I think it was 99.
Do you not remember that game? Because NL had all the studs. They had McGuire, Sosa, Chipper Jones in his prime. They had Walker. Who else was on that team? I mean, there were so many great hitters, and there's a great meme that says whoever was the pitcher of this All-Star game got worked that day, and it's like, did you even pay attention? It was Pedro Martinez, and he dominated.
Yeah,
I mean,
he struck out Barry Larkin, Larry Walker, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGuire to start the game, and then he got Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah, Jeff Bagwell
in the second inning as well, and I mean, it was not what what I remember from that game. That's the game that Ted Williams came out in the golf cart beforehand.
I remember that game like it was yesterday.
Yeah, and they were honoring him, and they were talking, and he was talking to the players, and I forget, was it Tony Gwynn or was somebody he was talking to, and he was asking the player, can you smell the wood burning when you foul a pitch off? You ever notice that smell? Like you foul a pitch off, and you could smell on the bat the little bit of a wood burn smell. Fascinating. That's one of the games that'll be in our Tuesday Top 10 in a moment when I get to that. But in the meantime, a couple of things I want to knock off my list. Alex Gibbs passed away. Alex Gibbs, 81 years old. He was one of the greatest offensive line coaches ever. He was the well-known offensive line coach with the Denver Broncos. Now, he was known for two things. One, they talk about now in his passing, and the second one they don't. The one they talk about is he was one of the guys that was really one of the fathers of the zone blocking scheme. All right? Alex Gibbs was one of the great zone block scheme guys that kind of, I don't want to say invented it, but he is the one that really perfected the zone blocking scheme, where you're blocking an area as opposed to blocking a man, where you don't have a base blocking scheme where you're going to down block on the 3 technique and you're going to kick out with the guard on the 5 technique and that kind of thing. Zone blocking, where you're blocking a zone, you chip up to a linebacker depth and so on. The other thing, though, about Alex Gibbs, and I saw him many times at when I was a football coach, saw him many times at clinics. He perfected the cut block, and everybody hated playing the Denver Broncos because the Denver Broncos were the best cut blocking team anywhere. And I remember Albert Haynesworth telling me specifically about how he thought the cut block should be illegal, and he would say, block me like a man. Block me chest to chest. Block me above the waist. And I'd be like, Albert, you're bigger than everybody else, and you're stronger than everybody else. I said, I'm not blocking you above the waist. I'm cutting your ass.
Yep.
I mean, are you kidding me? You're getting cut.
I do the same thing.
And Alex Gibbs was famous for a statement that he would say. Defensive lineman hated this guy. But he was famous, but Alex Gibbs would always say at the clinics, and he would say the word, he didn't say it politically correct the way I'm about to say it, but Alex Gibbs would say, F him, cut him. It was always about, okay, what do you do with the guy in the court? F him, cut him. That was his motto. Basically, that was Alex Gibbs' motto. F him, cut him. And he would perfect that. A lot of what Alex Gibbs taught is illegal now in football. All right, you could still cut block in certain areas. I don't even know what all the rules are. I really don't. But a lot of what he taught is now illegal. But when you were playing against an offensive line that was taught by Alex Gibbs, or when you were taught by a coach who was taught by Alex Gibbs, you better keep your hands down. You know that big ball that they had, that big ball that you would roll at guys and you would use for technique drills?
Yeah.
That whole thing was about learning how to handle a cut block. Get your hands down. And the reason why you cut are a number of things. One, guy's a tree, and you want to cut him down. Two, you'd cut them on pass plays, on quick passing plays, because you would want them to get their hands down. On pop passes or even some three-step drop type stuff, what you would do is you would cut the defensive line, because if they didn't drop their arms, they were not going to be able to protect not only their legs, their knees, and the family jewels. Because you don't aim for the knees. I'm just going to tell you this right now, okay? You aim for an area that's a little more precise than the knees, if you know what I'm saying. When you're cut blocking, you could call it cup blocking if you want. Call it cup blocking. You're looking to put your face, your helmet, right on the guy's cup. All right? That's what you want to do. And let me tell you what every player since ever will do when you aim for their cup with your helmet. They'll lower their hands. All right? Hands are coming down, baby. And so the best way to get the defensive line's hands down so that you can hit the quick pop to the tight end, I'm getting so coachy now, so that you could hit those quick passes to any kind of a slant, you want to get their hands down. You get their hands down by putting your face on the cup. And the hands will, believe me, the hands will come down. Now, you're going to get punched in the back. That's part of the deal. They're going to punch you in the back a few times, and you might get a penalty. You might not. But you will get the defensive. That's all Alex Gibbs, all right? One of the greatest offensive line coaches ever. He passed. Item number 2, get off the table here. Also passing away yesterday, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. We're all a little bit older today, learning that Mr. Wonderful has passed away. CTE is expected here. Did you know that Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful, was a running back at the University of Tampa and was actually drafted by the New Orleans Saints? He later failed physicals with the Saints and Kansas City, played a year in the WFL in 1975 with the Jacksonville Sharks before beginning his wrestling career. So let me just throw that one out there as well. All right, let me get to the lines. Keith, the Michigan fan, is up. Keith, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing pretty good, big dog. Hey, got a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
The golfers who are not taking the corona shot and coming up positive, costing them money. I mean, you had one that he lost the tournament he was in.
He was leading a $2 million tournament that paid $2 million to win, and he had a 6-shot lead, and that was the kid that went on to win the U.S. Open. John Rahm.
But you just threw away $2 million because you didn't want to get a shot that may save you, maybe not your life, but save one of your relatives, and then you just had a golfer who withdrew from the British Open because he tested positive.
Yeah, couldn't get on the plane. It was and that almost wiped out 16 guys because the John Deere Classic books a plane so that players will play in their tournament. They book a private plane to fly the players who play in the John Deere Classic who are in the British Open, fly them over right after the tournament is over. And right before Zach Johnson, who was the 2015, I think, British Open champion, right before he got on the plane, he popped positive. If he'd have gotten on that plane, everybody on that plane would have been considered a close contact, and all 16 guys would have been out of the British Open.
Now, how pissed would you have been if you were the number 3 player in the world, and he gets on the plane, and everybody got shots but him, and he calls you not to be able to play?
Yeah.
It's just I don't understand it.
Well, and now there's only 6 teams in the NFL that have reached 85%. Most of baseball is in pretty good shape. But in the NFL, I think we're up to about 6 teams right now that have 85% vaccination. They're trying to get it to everybody by the time camp starts. If you're not vaccinated in the NFL when you go to camp, you should see the restrictions that those players have. You have to stay in your room. You can't eat with the team. If you're not vaccinated, you can't eat at training camp with the rest of the team. You can't go in the cafeteria. You got to wear a mask everywhere. I mean, you got to be tested on a regular basis. I mean, just get the freaking vaccination, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I saw one NFL player said that he wasn't going to get the shot. He'd retire first. It's like, dude,
why?
I mean, you spent all this money and time to become a world-class athlete, play football, and you're going to let something like politics cost you everything?
I don't understand what's political about it. You know my politics.
I don't either.
I'm way the hell over there. I'm way over there to the right. Not lunatic fringe, but I'm over there to the right. And I don't understand what the hell does politics have to do. Trump got vaccinated. Trump's wife he had his whole family vaccinated. So if you're a Trumpy, if you're a Trump guy, then why wouldn't you follow your leader and get vaccinated? I don't get this. What is political about the vaccine?
I have no clue, but it just doesn't make any sense. But that's people.
Yeah, well, it's just asinine, is what it is. To me, I don't. Look, it's a personal choice. Certainly, you can make that choice, but you have to suffer the consequences of the choice that you make. So if you want to be ostracized from your team and not be able to sit with them and not be able to eat with them and all that other kind of stuff, well, don't take the shot. Don't take the shot. You can deal with that.
All right. Talk to you later.
See you. I don't get it.
I mean, I understand what he's talking about. You know, how can you be, a professional athlete and you make all this money and you're playing a sport and they tell you to get the vaccine, but he was talking about Cole Beasley. And I think what Cole Beasley was kind of saying is, he's like, what about God's will? I mean, he doesn't necessarily think that, like, he's just going to go out and get people sick, like, by any means.
Has Cole Beasley ever had taken any medication for surgery? Has he ever had a surgery? Was that God's will? God allows the development
That's what he
of
called
surgeons.
It now.
And he that's an asinine
I'm reading the article right here,
Yeah, that's an asinine comment by Cole Beasley, because when he gets a bad injury, he had a surgeon put him back together, and God allows that technology to come in and that all of those things to happen. Some of the best doctors I know are extremely faithful people, and my cardiologist, the last thing he would do before he did work on my heart was pray. He says, we're going to pray here in the operating room. We're going to say a prayer that God will guide me to do this surgery properly and so on. If God didn't allow for the technology to develop the defibrillator that I have in my chest, I would be dead right now. Okay? I would be dead.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of, and here's the thing. Did Cole Beasley have a measles shot? Yes. Did Cole Beasley have a polio shot? Yes. Did Cole Beasley have to have other vaccines when he went to school? I don't even know if he's a parent or not, but if he has kids, try sending your kids to school without a shot record, without vaccines. So I don't understand why this vaccine all of a sudden has become a political hot potato.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. And that's all I got to say about that. Right.
I'm just glad I just hope I got the right one. That's all. Man,
I
felt like crap yesterday.
Well, that happens. It might not even be related.
Yesterday.
I don't know. It didn't bother me. Did you get the Moderna?
Moderna, yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. I took it yesterday, or I took it, Sunday.
Yeah.
And then, like, right after we got out of the show, I was like, it felt like I had kidney stones. I was like, I'd rather have kidney stones. I was like,
maybe you did.
It felt like someone just beat me with a ton of bricks. Every part of my body ached.
It might not have been related.
It may have been.
Know. It may have been. It may not have been.
It was a day. It was like a whole day. I've heard that, like, the next day you feel like absolute ass.
Didn't bother me at all.
So, I don't know.
Didn't even know I had it. In my case, I mean, different people have had different experiences. Some people have died, but a lot less people have died from the vaccine that died without the vaccine.
There's apparently some, like, I thought I read something about the Johnson & Johnson having some weird nerve damage.
Well, that one got pulled off the tape. Remember, that one got pulled down. Johnson & Johnson was pulled down and sent back for testing, but even it was, and look, everything has, every single medication that you take, watch every commercial that comes on TV for a medication. In every single medication, side effects. Some people have experienced this. Some people have experienced that. Some people have experienced schizophrenia. Some people have died. There's always something. But you don't take it. I take Entresto. I take Jardiance. I take Metformin. I mean, you should see the stuff I have to take. And every one of them has some sort of side effect.
Oh, yeah.
That is infinitesimal. You know what I mean? That it's just like, and if you watch those commercials, I always laugh. My wife and I laugh. The commercials are like 90 seconds long. You know, the commercials for medications.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like they show a guy, he's skipping through the park, and he's happy, and he's alive, and whatever. And then they make one comment, and then the next 60 seconds are about all the negative things that could happen. And it's like, oh, yeah, I want that thing. You might get a yeast infection. You might get a knot on the side of your head. You might get dead. You might get this. You might get that. And then at the end, they go, take Entresto for your heart.
Or just how they're like dancing or they're like doing something like productive or whatever. Right. And it's like, when is the diarrhea going to come into effect or whatever of this? How
about an erection lasting more than 4 hours? You know what I mean? Is that stopping people from taking Cialis and Viagra? You may have an erection. Call your doctor if your erection lasts more than 4 hours.
You probably don't need to go jogging in loose shorts if you've got.
Yes.
If you've got
don't wear sweatpants and jog if you've just taken Cialis because your erection may last more than 4 hours. What the hell?
Oh,
but that doesn't stop people from taking it.
No.
All right, I'm gonna. I got one other thing. Let me get this in here. The Washington football team, Washington FT. It should be Washington FC, Washington Football Club. Steal from soccer. Be Washington United. Why not Washington United? I know they got DC United.
Boom.
Why not Washington United? That'd be a cool name.
The Warriors.
I like the Warriors, but the Washington football team, the GM has come out, the president of the team came out and said it will not be Warriors. He said that the name, which is going to be announced after next season, this upcoming season, they're going to still be the Washington football team. And then they're going to have a new name and apparently a whole new motif beginning in 2022. We'll see whether or not it involves color change and whatnot. But they said it will not be Washington Warriors. They will not have anything that has any Native American connotation whatsoever. Now, look, I know a lot of people like Washington Red Tails for the Tuskegee Airmen, but look, that's too narrow too. You know, I believe. And secondly, if the team was named Red Tails, you know they're going to nickname. People are going to call them the Red Asses. They're going to call them the Red Asses. They're going to be the Washington Red Asses. You can't be Red Tails. Stop that. My suggestion is Washington Americans. Why not the Washington Americans? That is an homage to every hyphenated American, the Native Americans, the Irish Americans, the African Americans, the Italian Americans, the whatever Asian Americans, whatever hyphenated American there is. Why not just be the Washington Americans? Like my beloved hometown hockey team, the Rochester Americans, who go by the Amerks, Rochester Amerks. Why not be the Washington Americans and be done with it? The thing is, I don't think they want to change their colors. So I think they're going to try and come up with something that will allow them to keep their color. Because if you're the Washington Americans, you got to go red, white, and blue. That's my take. All right. We'll have the Tuesday Top 10 a little bit later on the show. Oh, one other thing. Let me get this one in there. Congratulations to Christian McLeod. Let me mention that just in case I don't get to it later. Minnesota Twins took Christian McLeod in, I think, the sixth round. Was it the fifth or sixth round? He was the 159th pick overall. I think it was in the fifth round, maybe, of the Major League draft. He was a 5-time letterman in baseball at Huntsville High School. He is the son of Kimberly and Kevin McLeod. He has 2 older brothers, Colton and Spencer. Congratulations. His daddy, Kevin, played baseball at Toledo, was a Mud Hen. I don't know if they were the Mud Hens then. No, wait a minute, not Mud Hens. What's Toledo? Rockets. The Toledo Rockets. Toledo Mud Hens was a baseball team, International League baseball team. And anyway, his father, Kevin, was a 10th-round draft pick of the Oakland Athletics in the 1987 Major League Baseball. So the kid got drafted sooner than the old man did. So he's got that over. So congratulations to Christian McLeod of Huntsville High School, the Panther, taking 159th overall in the Major League Baseball draft. All right. We'll come back with Beau Estes from NBATV, NBA.com, next on the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
Tonight, the 2021 All-Star Game in Denver. The National League team coming in a slight favorite, -120 on the money line. The American League -110, the over-under 8.5. Tomorrow night, Game 4, the NBA Finals. Suns lead the Bucks 2-1. Game 4 in Milwaukee with the Bucks a 4-point favorite, the over-under 220.5. Golf, the 2021 Open Championship set for this Thursday through Sunday at Royal St. George's. John Rahm coming into the final major of the year. The odds-on favorite at +750 with Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson each at +1600. Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, and Jordan Spieth each at +1800.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
Switching season is back at WOW. Get super fast, extra reliable Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get $200 on us. Sign up at wowie.com today.
Wow.
Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Contractors and homeowners throughout the Tennessee Valley agree. Valley Equipment Rental is the place to go when you need to get the job done like a pro. Rhyming aside, Valley Equipment has everything you need for your project, from tillers for the garden to aerators for the lawn to stump grinders, augers, and mowers, plus skid steer and mini excavators. Oh, the skid steer and excavators. Valley Equipment is North Alabama's leader in skids and excavators with 25 of each, and they have them in all different sizes. Check them out today on the South Parkway or at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton.
David is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
Good blue cheese with hot wings is better than any ranch, and I'll fight anybody that disagrees with me.
I would agree with you. I haven't even
But
seen
there's
how
a
big you
difference.
are.
Well, Wes, I'm not as big as you, but I'm big enough.
Listen to The Drive, weekdays starting at 5 p.m. on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not going to get to enjoy much in the way of any sunshine this afternoon. Cloud cover definitely going to be a more prominent feature. We're also talking about scattered showers and thunderstorms as a cold front attempts to push its way through the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures are going to stay on the lower end of the spectrum, highs hanging out in the upper 70s and lower 80s, dropping into the upper 60s and lower 70s through the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I wanna thank you. Thank you for making us your number one choice for sports talk in North Alabama.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm ready for it.
Segment of Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center. That's right, TOC Sports. Doesn't have to be a sports injury, you know. Could have hurt yourself doing anything. Could have been hiking in the woods. You could have been water skiing, or that god-awful wakeboarding thing that ruins the whole lake and tears it up for everybody else. Whatever it is that you got hurt, take yourself over to TOC Sports, make an appointment there. They will get you fixed up. They've been taking care of the Valley for over 20 years, and just about every high school in the region uses TOC in terms of their trainers. Alabama A&M uses them. The Havoc use them as well, and you should do the same. TOC Sports. Joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, a guy that has been gallivanting across the country for the last month or so, or however long. I don't know how he does it. He gets away with it, but he does it. But he's still doing his NBA top 5, top 10, and all those kind of highlight deals, and does a tremendous job on NBATV, NBA.com. Beau Estes. Beau, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, man. We're in Colorado now, and if you haven't been here, this is a place you got to get. One warning, Tom. 8,000 feet above sea level is a lot to process for the old lungs. It'll give you a workout.
It was a workout for the guys last night in the home run derby at 5,400 feet or whatever, a mile above sea level. And you grew up on a horse farm and everything. I know it's colder than the hubs of hell in the wintertime, but I cannot believe how absolutely beautiful it is out there.
If you're an American and you're traveling abroad, take a little time to see that part of the country. First of all, Yellowstone is out of this world, and then you go out, to Washington, even to Idaho, to Montana, Wyoming, all that glorious. In Colorado, you got to include in that. We're outside of Durango in a place called Vallecito Lake, and it's as remote as you're going to get in the United States, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It's just you can't believe it. It's like living in that old show Northern Exposure right now.
Yeah.
That's where we are. Just like wild animals wandering through the neighborhood, stuff like that. It's such a fun place, but very different from a big city. Just a completely different life.
Crystal clear water, tall pines,
Yep.
waterfalls. I mean, all of that stuff. And my mom and my dad, actually both of them, they're always trying to get me to go to Italy. They want me to go back to the old country. They want to see where the family is from, and they want me to go to Sicily and how beautiful Sicily is and so on. And I resist it. One, because I don't like the idea of getting on a plane for 6 hours and 8 hours or whatever it is, even though I have been to Hawaii, and flying across the Atlantic.
Yep.
And, but two, the other part of it is I keep saying there are so much of this country that I haven't seen. I've seen everything east of the Mississippi, up and down the eastern portion of the country. But there's so much of this country that I haven't seen, and I'm like, you know what? If I got the time to go on a 2-week vacation, I love the old country, love hearing the stories about all the aunts and uncles over there in Italy, but I'm going to state of Washington or Oregon or Wyoming or Montana. I'm going to go check that stuff out. Until I've seen all of that, I have got no interest in going to Europe. That's just me.
Yeah, you can't go too far without seeing somebody who's rented an RV and is just wandering around in this part of the country, and for good reason. It's the sights are something that you don't see on the East Coast. The East Coast is beautiful. I mean, obviously we've got the Appalachian Trail and amazing stuff like that, but the sights out here are different, man. It's just really unbelievable.
Does nobody out there
National Park?
Yeah. I would also think that nobody out there cares that the U.S. team apparently cannot win an international game now with this team that was put together by Jalen Rose. Apparently they cannot win a game. This is disturbing. I know they're just exhibition games, but we're like 54-4 now in these things since 1992, since the NBA started playing in these games. And this is a little bit annoying to see them. I don't care who they are, how many different guys, how limited practices they've had together. I know it's a statement on international play, but my goodness, we can't be getting beat by Nigeria and Australia. I mean, it just can't happen.
Well, there's a couple of things that are going on. One, the competition has gotten much better. I think Nigeria had 8 guys that play in the NBA currently, a couple of which are very, very good NBA players. Australia has about the same thing, 7, 8 guys in the NBA, several good NBA players. But that doesn't mean that they have Kevin Durant or Damian Lillard or Jason Tatum. There's no all-stars out there for the other teams. The challenge is, like for Team Australia, you see them in the post-game interview, and you're talking about guys who've been playing together since 2008 on this sort of team, in this sort of system, playing under FIBA experience. The team had a camp set up in Irvine, California for, I think it was 2 weeks where the players are all practicing, all participating, and getting in shape. Greg Popovich, Team USA's coach, I think they had 4 practices, maybe 3 practices before Game 1 against Nigeria. Then they get a day off and they go and play Australia. They lose that one. They're on again today against Argentina, a team that is, similarly to the U.S., they're 0-2 so far. So it's an opportunity for a win, but we shouldn't be scrapping around and searching for a win. It should be better than this. And I think what you're really seeing is there's an adjustment to the way that the game is refereed internationally. And people complain about the touch fouls in the NBA and the offensive players having way too much of an advantage in the NBA. That doesn't happen in FIBA. You got to take a little contact to get a whistle in FIBA. So, Damian Lillard sort of dived into it in the post-game press conference. He said they're all adjusting to it, and they're all going to try to learn it. It's better to learn it now than actually during the Olympics. Yeah. Also, Team USA is going to get a couple of All-Stars coming back after the NBA Finals are up. They're going to get Devin Booker. They're going to get Chris Middleton. That shores up some shooting woes in a hurry. But, the gap just isn't there, Tom. And the other thing I'd say is if we had our A1 team, if it's LeBron, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, James Harden, those guys out there, it's probably a different story. But we can't go over there and expect to just dominate without the absolute A1 team anymore.
That's weird. Okay, because it used to be, and you would think that it would you could put 3 U.S. teams together and they would win gold, silver, and bronze. I mean, come on, it would be it would be a no-brainer that you could do that. Should there be a strategy? Well, there's two parts of this. I'm of the opinion, I have said this basically after Dream Team 2. I've been saying this since the mid-'90s, to be honest with you. I don't need to see. I mean, look, I'm as American I'm as red, white, and blue as anybody, and I want to win gold and everything, and I get all of that. But if you told me that we just sent a 25U team over there, I think soccer is 23U, right? You're allowed to have 1 or 2 guys over 23 and everybody. Yeah, for the Olympics. And if you told me that we were sending a 25U team and it was even going to have a couple of college kids and our best young players that are under 25 and they would get that experience and then they would move on and the next Olympic team would be another U25 team, it wouldn't bother me at all. And I would be like, okay, we win. Most of the times we win. Sometimes we lose. But these are our kids that we're sending over. They're our youngest players. And, all the way across the board. That wouldn't bother me if it was something like that. I'm over us being able to whoop everybody. But the flip side is, if we don't win gold this time, do you think that would impact any of these players that have begged off to where they would say 4 years from now, And some of those guys would be too old. Obviously, we're not talking about LeBron and maybe not even Steph. But would that maybe change the mind of some players and say, look, I got to be there?
Well, I think it would, but I think this is just a unique circumstance because you're coming off basically 2 seasons being played back-to-back with the NBA. And so the guys you mentioned, LeBron, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, those guys are all in their 30s. So it was tough on their body. You saw a ton of injuries in the NBA. Kawhi missed time, LeBron missed time, Anthony Davis missed time. He's not in his 30s, but these are guys that they're older and they did opt to take time out. And I'm sort of like I remember the line from Hoosiers where Norman Dale said, "Your team is on the floor. These are the guys who made the sacrifice to put on this jersey." So I'm gonna cheer for those guys that did make this sacrifice. But I do, I understand the context. That's not our absolute A1 talent out there. It's not. It's very good, and it should win. And I still, honestly, Tom, I still expect them to bring home gold, and I still expect them to bring home gold rather comfortably if they get it together and if they, sort of execute. Their defense is learning, and the other teams just play together more and have grown up together in this system. We mix and match guys all the time because we, like you said, we could go Team USA A, Team USA B, Team USA C, and still have a ton of talent. But these guys aren't playing together in that sort of format as much. So I just think, it's tough. It really is. In this, coming out of COVID with all that they've been asked to do as players, to hope that they'd all go play the Olympics. And I think, us potentially not winning a gold is a consequence of that. And, where the other teams don't have A, B, and C squad depth, we do. And so we just had some of the guys go over and made that commitment. And again, like I say, I'm just going to honor the guys who made the commitment and hope like heck they're able to pull it out.
Well, that's why I'd like to see some of the younger guys, maybe they would. Look, why isn't Trae Young on this team? I mean, I know he was on the list of 50. How do you not pick Trae Young? He didn't let this happen. You know what I mean? With his attitude and his mindset, where's Zion Williamson? You know what I mean? I know he had the finger late in the season. Is he banged up? Was he hurt?
Ball.
Yeah. Even LaMelo Ball. Where are these guys? These young guys, I think, will go over there with a little more vim and vigor. Some of these other guys that have already won a gold and they're a little bit older, their bodies take a little bit more of a beating. I was stunned that Durant did this. His first season coming off of missing an entire season of an injury. I mean, I laud him for it, wanting to do it. But you could make the case that, if I was a Brooklyn Nets fan, I don't need to see Kevin Durant go do this, over the summer, and then go to camp 15 minutes later.
You made a good point, though. You made a good point. I laud him for doing this because I'm a little bit surprised he is, but that's the one thing that people will tell you behind the scenes about Kevin Durant. He loves playing basketball. He loves it. He loves it. He loves it. So I hope people gain respect for him for doing this. I hope people appreciate Kevin Durant even more because you're right. He comes off a bad Achilles. He had to carry that team because Harden and Kyrie got injured, and he had a heroic playoff performance. It wasn't enough against Milwaukee, who has 3-4 guys who have been on an all-star team. But I respect Kevin Durant for doing this. I really, really do. And I would love to see those young players like you mentioned. If LaMelo Ball goes, if Zion Williamson goes, Zion Williamson could be on this team right now. I mean, they got Kevin Love, and I understand Kevin Love's experience, but Zion Williamson brings something to this team. I mean, that's a wrecking ball of a basketball player that nobody's used to. So I'd really enjoy seeing all of that.
Yeah, Kevin Love hasn't even been on the court yet, so we can't hang this on him. Okay, now final thought on this. This is a text that we got to the show earlier, and this is from a listener that is not a Yahoo. I mean, I got Yahoos. This is not a Yahoo. This is a well-thought-out guy. This isn't a guy that gets overly political or anything like that, okay? And he sent this text because this is a scary thought that you wonder, what segment of the sporting American public would even think something like this. I didn't think this, and he threw this out here. He said this: Do you think the USA basketball team could intentionally be dropping these games or half-assing it in some sort of protest of America? Wow. I can't believe anyone would think that, much less a guy like that. But it makes you wonder, if he's not a Yahoo and he's thinking that, it makes you wonder, are there people that actually think that these guys could be just kind of tanking it? It doesn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, obviously I don't believe that, but I worry if a significant number of people are thinking that, because it's hard to imagine them putting this much effort if they're going to do something like that, right? They wouldn't try this hard, to make it look believable. I don't think, and I don't think, the character of a guy like Damian Lillard. My gosh, no, I would never imagine that. So it.
Scary to think that somebody thinks that, though, isn't it? I mean, it's scary to think that anyone would even think
and I think
that.
It's
That's where we're at.
Indicative of the world we live in now, right? Where everything, you at least consider the conspiracy, right? You at least, your mind goes there and wonders something that you wouldn't wonder before. And, that's just the world we live in, frankly. It really is, and it's tough, and it's something we have to overcome. Again, like I said earlier, I really believe they're going to bring home gold. I really do. I think they're going to figure this out. And the other thing is, I don't think they care tremendously about these exhibition games as far as the result. I think Greg Popovich in his postgame presser, first of all, is wonderful in a postgame presser. But I think what he does is he talks about very specific aspects of the game that they're trying to improve upon. Defensive intensity, rebounding against bigger teams, because remember, we're playing Draymond at center sometimes. So bigger squads, like Australia before he got hurt, rolls out Aaron Baines, who's a 7-foot truck. So how do we rebound against teams like that? We're trying to play NBA basketball in FIBA, and we're trying to figure out how to do that. And I just think that is a learning process. And even if they lose to Argentina today, even if they lost handily, I would go and look at the odds and say Team USA is the favorite. I'm almost positive that they would be. But they've just got to take some time. They've got to practice. They got to figure this out. And one of the things Greg Popovich said, they're out of shape. A lot of these guys haven't played in 3 or 4 weeks. So there's conditioning to be had as well. There's just a lot going on. But, I'm not terribly shocked that somebody would think that, because it's just the world we live in.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. And it's sad, and, everything falls under that. But it's the reality, so you can't deny the reality, right?
No, you can't. Beau Estes with us here, NBATV, NBA.com. All right, tomorrow night, massive game, right? I mean, this is a massive game, because if Milwaukee does what Milwaukee did, and I mean, they won that game going away. They don't even have to win it going away. You only got to win by a point. If Milwaukee wins a game and turns this into a best-of-3, you would think all of a sudden now the Phoenix sphincters start to tighten up a little bit, because you feel like all Milwaukee has to do is go there, win a game, and then if they can do that, have a chance to win this whole thing in Game 4. I know it's a very unlikely, 82% when the home team, the higher seed, wins the first 2 games, they go on to win. I think only 3 times has it gone the other way, but we did see it in 2016 with LeBron and Steph and the Warriors and the Cavs. Just break this thing down tomorrow, and why Milwaukee is the favorite to tie this up at 2.
I think one thing that has been borne out in these playoffs is that Milwaukee shoots a lot better at home, and what we've learned, first of all, in these playoffs is that Giannis is the best player on the floor, regardless of team, by a long, long way. Clearly the best player on the floor. But what happened in Game 2 in Phoenix was that those 2 other guys that are outside shooters, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, were dreadful. Absolutely dreadful in Phoenix. And in Game 3, they shoot 8 of 17 from 3, so almost combining for 50%, whereas Devin Booker disappeared. Chris Paul couldn't get it down either. They combined for 2 of 10 from 3. So those 2 guys have to be more accurate for Phoenix to sort of combat what Giannis is doing. And if Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday stay hot from outside, Milwaukee's going to win this game. They will win this game because Giannis is going to dominate. He's absolutely going to dominate. And if those other guys support him offensively, then Phoenix is in trouble. Phoenix is maybe as good an offensive executing team as we've seen in years and years and years. They don't have LeBron. They don't have Steph. They don't have those absolutely super huge stars offensively. But the way they execute on offense is a credit to the sport. It's a credit to that staff. It's a credit to those players. And it gets them good shots, and they've got good shooters that can knock it down, but they have to do it. And like you said, if this becomes a 3-game series, all of a sudden you wonder if Milwaukee has the advantage, because you've followed sports long enough to know, Tom. So Phoenix goes and wins a couple of games. Now it's up to Milwaukee to make an adjustment. They've made that adjustment. It's Phoenix's turn now. Can they adjust to that adjustment? It's often the adjustment to the adjustment that can determine a series. And if Phoenix can make an adjustment, then maybe they pull this thing out. But if it goes 2-2 back to Phoenix, all bets are off as far as I'm concerned.
All right, go back to enjoying the freshwater streams and the mountains and all of that kind of stuff, and I'm sure we'll be getting a top 5 or top 10 from you tomorrow night after the game.
Yeah, I'm calling the Olympic stuff tonight, and then back to the NBA Finals tomorrow. So the studio's up and running, as you know how that works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be out looking at a beautiful river here in mere moments.
All right, good job by you, man. I appreciate you as always.
Take care, bud.
By the way, Game 3 of the NBA Finals, averaging 9.38 million viewers. That's down 30% from 2019's Game 3 between the Raptors and the Warriors. They had 13.44 million. In 2018, they had 18 million for Game 3. 18 million. 9.38 million in this one. I mean, just like half. The audience is shot. It was the bubble. We don't even compare it to the bubble. I mean, this is barely higher than the bubble. But the bubble, all of the social stuff, I mean, it's just incredible. The NBA Finals are averaging 9 million viewers right now. Literally the worst ever. I mean, just ever. Ever since, Bird and Magic turned the league around. I mean, it's just that bad. It's crazy how much this is. The NBA Finals in 2017, 20 million viewers. 20 million viewers. They're averaging under 9 right now. Just 2017, 20 million viewers. That's how far it's fallen. All right. Let's get a break. We'll come back. Final segment is next right here, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked the reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
At
Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right, even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
All right, let me get this in.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the Tuesday Top 10. According to Major League Baseball, the greatest moments in All-Star history. All-Star game coming up tonight. Listen, this game used to be very, very important to the players when there wasn't interleague play, and it was a big deal for the American League and the National League players to try and beat the other side. It was a really, really big thing, but here are some of the greatest moments. According to them, number one, Ted Williams in 1941, the year he hit 400, and the year Joe DiMaggio had a 56-game hitting streak. DiMaggio was, by the way, the guys played the whole game. There was no, 3 innings and stuff like that. No. DiMaggio played the entire game. Ted Williams played the entire game. DiMaggio's on base. Joe Gordon is on base. 2 outs. The American League is trailing 5-4. And Ted Williams hits a walk-off 3-run home run for the 7-5 victory, and it was the first walk-off home run in the history of the All-Star game. Number 2, Cal Ripken Jr. in Seattle in July of 2001. He had announced that this was his last season. He was elected to the All-Star game as a third baseman. Remember, he was a shortstop for most of his career. And when he took the field in the top of the first inning, Alex Rodriguez, who was the shortstop, he moved Ripken over to shortstop, and A-Rod took third, a little precursor to the fact that A-Rod would end up playing third for the Yankees with Derek Jeter playing shortstop. So A-Rod moved to third. Ripken went to shortstop, and then Ripken led off the game with a home run, and the place went absolutely bonkers. Torrey Hunter stealing a home run from Barry Bonds, who had hit 73 in 2001. In 2002, Hunter climbs the wall to pull one back from Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds runs out there and picks up Torrey Hunter, and that is number 3 moment. Number 4, Pedro Martinez. We talked about this one earlier. Strikes out Barry Larkin, Larry Walker, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and then Jeff Bagwell, striking out 5 of the first 6 guys that he faced in the 1999 All-Star game. Ichiro Suzuki hitting a long fly ball to right field that caroms off the wall and has an inside-the-park home run in San Francisco. Bo Jackson in July of '89 hits a home run in the bottom of the first with Ronald Reagan and Vin Scully in the booth. And Scully says, Bo Jackson says hello. Reggie Jackson's towering home run into the light standard at Tiger Stadium, 520 feet. That was amazing. And Pete Rose breaking Ray Fosse's shoulder, going headfirst into home. One of the greatest moments in All-Star Game history. We won't see anything like that, I don't think, tonight. Coming up next, it's Chuck Oliver. For Chad, I'm Tom, and this is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
With double the seasoned beef and a large drink all for $5, Taco Bell's Grande Nachos truly deserves a Grande intro, perhaps with a Grande beat box. Said it's crunchy, it's cheesy. Beef. Actually, that sounded better in my head. Go get the $5 Grande Nachos before they make a every exit. Nope. Only at Taco Bell. At limited participating locations for a limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Tax extra. Drinks excludes freezers. Double the seasoned beef as compared to the Nachos Bel Grande.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi at this hour. As preparations continue for the Tokyo Olympics, Team USA looks to bounce back from a second straight exhibition loss to Australia last night. Dating back to the 2019 World Cup, the United States has dropped 4 of its last 5. One of the issues for the current squad, chemistry and execution. Dame Lillard noting the U.S. players haven't spent a lot of time together, are still working at becoming a team. The Americans get right back at it tonight with an exhibition matchup against Argentina. Shohei Ohtani gets the start for the American League. Max Scherzer for the National League in tonight's Major League Baseball All-Star Game, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio, as well as the ESPN app.
Country versus country, you versus the home printer. No matter the competition, you need natural fuel. Almonds are exactly that fuel for the best you. Almonds are natural, energy-packed, stay-on-task, feel-good fuel to power you through. California Almonds. Own your everyday, every day.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
With an impressive roster of explosive young superstars and the reigning MVP, the Atlanta Braves are showing the East what they're made of.
1-1 on the way. He connects it. It's a high fly ball to deep right field, way back towards the seats, and this ball is gone!
Your new home of the Atlanta Braves.
Hit high in the air to deep right center field. We are tied!
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for